Minnesota Vikings' first preseason game is tonight. We've compiled a list of the top 5 players we are watching for tonight. We'll get into that right after this. But first off, if you guys enjoy what you see here, hit that like button. If you're new here, or even if you're old and haven't done so yet, hit the subscribe button. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss any updates on the content we're posting here as we get closer to the regular season. Let's get into the video. Tonight's the night. Minnesota Vikings football is finally back. Preseason, it's a late one. Vikings are playing in Seattle, so if you're watching it from the great state of Minnesota, it's a 9 p.m. Central Time kickoff. But we all know, and for Jamie, it's even worse. It's 10 p.m. Eastern Time kickoff.
Eastern Time.
As we all know, it's Vikings football. It's preseason, we know, but we'll all still be watching at least the first half. Your boys here, we're going to be watching the entire game. So what we've done for now, it's hard to do a normal pre-game video. So we're just going to put together a list, top 5 players that we're both watching for. A lot of rookies, maybe a second-year guy mixed in, but these are the 5 players that, I think we're going to see a lot of because they're going to be playing a lot.
Yeah, we know we're not going to play any starters this game. So there's some players like we didn't put a Caleb Evans on this list. We're thinking about it maybe, but honestly, I don't even, at this point, it sounds like CB1 is definitely pretty far ahead as far as it sounds from training camp so far. So I don't even know if he'll get playing time. He might get a little bit. We'll see. I'm hoping he still does because I'm still hoping there's a real competition there. Because one of our guys on this list, he's having a good training camp. So we'll see on that. But yeah, overall for me, before we jump in this top 5 video, man, I'm just excited that we finally have some football after since February for Vikings football, but even after a few months of really nothing going on and training camp ramping up, and to get a real preseason game and see some of these rookies, and we'll dive into them a little bit more here, but there's a lot of excitement coming into this preseason because we got some skilled players that I think it's going to be one of the most exciting preseasons we've had in recent memory. So
maybe. So without further ado, let's get into our list. We mentioned rookies a lot. Well, the first guy on our list, not necessarily a rookie. He is second-year player, vying for running back 2, and that is Ty Chandler, second-year player out of North Carolina. So obviously, no Delvin Cook. Alexander Madison's the lead back. We all know that. But behind him, there's a lot of opportunity and options for the rest of the guys on the depth chart. There's Ty Chandler. There's Kene Wangu, our kick returner, as well as rookie Dwayne McBride. So if you ask me, I think by season start, I think Ty Chandler is going to take that running back 2 spot. I know on the unofficial depth chart, Kene was in that spot. I think it's going to end up being Ty Chandler personally, just because the thing with Chandler that he possesses that the other guys just don't have, it's the playmaking ability in the passing game. We saw him last preseason, the running before he got hurt. In the run game, he was shifty, made some nice moves, has a lot of speed, but we didn't get to see him in the pass game as much as we would have liked to. And obviously, coming out of college, I know Jamie, you put up a comparison highlight between him and Andrew Booth about them each dragging or pulling in a one-handed catch. And that's the thing with Ty Chandler. This offense needs is that receiving threat at running back, especially with the way the running back position is going now. So I think we're going to see a lot of Ty Chandler in this game. And I hope we get to see every facet of what Ty Chandler can do. I'm excited to see the other guys, especially Dwayne McBride. But Ty Chandler, man, I think this is a guy who is going to be on the radar.
Yeah, he's a guy that we haven't heard a lot this offseason or his buzz. I mean, he had tons of buzz in last preseason. He looks fantastic. We have heard some good things about him in training camp. As far as the fan base goes, there's not a lot of people talking about him. I would also say the same thing with Dwayne McBride. I think a lot of people are excited getting him in the 7th round in the draft and then leading up to training camp. I know McBride's probably on a lot of people's list, but we haven't heard much about him in training camp yet. We did see him a couple of highlights of him catching the ball, which is very interesting. And I'm really excited to see McBride still, but I'm not confident he's going to come in and be what we saw from Chandler last year, especially in the pass game, because you're right. Chandler's should be by far our best pass catching back. And even going into the season, even if he's sitting at the 3rd string running back, which I don't know if he will be, the whole Kene thing is interesting. But I think he will be out there for passing downs and stuff like that, just because he has the best ability there and he can still grab the ball too and do something with that. So I think he's going to be the kind of guy, maybe a lot of people are more excited to see McBride, but I won't be surprised if Ty Chandler shows out during this
Excited to see Ty Chandler. Moving on, number 4 on our list, we have rookie cornerback McKay Blackman out of USC. So far in camp, he's been looking solid. He's been mixing with the ones a little bit. I think I heard he's been mixing in at slot as well. And that's the biggest thing that I mentioned with this cornerback room. And I'm excited. Honestly, you could toss in all the corners that will play in the preseason and on this list, which I'm sure Caleb Evans will get some run at some point. You got Blackman. Obviously, you got Andrew Booth if he can get back on the field. You got Jawan Williams. So there's a ton of options at corner. But, I mean, if you want to talk about the guy that we want to watch, it's going to be McKay Blackman because he was that guy in the 3rd round when the fans thought there was other players available we could have taken at corner. Kwesi, Kevin O'Connell, and Brian Flores all picked out Blackman. And we know why. He's a man-to-man corner in college, showed a lot of ability, a little grabby, but it's something that is easily correctable. And I think, again, this is another guy we're going to see a lot of because we have to. I mean, he's a relatively high draft pick. And, you know, like I said, Flores wanted him here. He's here. He's been mixing in with the ones. I'm excited to see him.
Yeah. And that's the same thing. Circling back to Caleb Evans again. That's one thing. That's why I think we do see a Caleb Evans is just because I think, you know, this competition isn't over yet. I think there is going to be Andrew Booth, Caleb Evans, and McKay Blackman. I've been super pumped about how McKay Blackman has shown in training camp so far. I mean, there's been highlights with him covering Addison and some of these other wide receivers. I don't know if I've seen anything with Justin Jefferson for sure, but Justin Jefferson's that guy. I know we see some Murphy on Justin Jefferson. So Murphy, we know is that guy. We're not going to see any Murphy tomorrow. But I was going to say Andrew Booth would have, I was hoping at this point in the offseason in training camp that we would see Andrew Booth on this list because this is a guy that I wanted to give him another chance going into this season. But I think his injury in training camp kind of just like, you know, the fan base is just like, dang it, is he going to go out like that? We'll see. I mean, he's going to have an opportunity. He's healthy again and he's back in practice. So we'll be able to see some of him as well. But Blackman it sounds like he's been looking really good. So yeah, I'm excited to see him, and that's why he's on our number 4.
Absolutely. Moving on to number 3, we have the quarterback Jaren Hall, rookie out of BYU. So we all know Kirk Cousins is the unquestioned starter this season, maybe beyond. We'll talk for a different day. But we know Kirk. If anything, we might see him for a drive this game. Might see him for a couple drives game 2. Won't see him at all game 3. And with Jaren Hall being the only other quarterback on the roster, along with Nick Mullins, we're gonna have to see a lot of them. So Nick Mullins is one of those guys. He's about as consistent you can get as a backup. He's got to be a top 5 backup quarterback in the league. Has had some pro snaps, won some games, but we all know you kind of know what you have in him. Yeah. Jaren Hall is a complete question mark. He's a guy who could potentially be out of the league in a couple of years. He could be a career-long backup, or he could develop into a nice starter. And at BYU, this last season shows some crazy stats. Ever since coming in for Zach Wilson, he's been consistent. A little older, 25. I know he went on a mission trip for a year, so he took a year off of college. Mm-hmm. But yeah, this last season, I mean, double-digit touchdowns, a single-digit interceptions, big yardage. He's got a big arm. He's mobile. He's not the biggest guy, but it's whatever. But what we have here is a young developmental quarterback who was picked by this coaching staff and front office, and we're going to get to see him develop right in front of our eyes in preseason. He'll be going against probably 3s and 4s. So if he can do what Kyle Sloter did back in the day and play well against those types, you're going to feel good about the progression. I know Kevin O'Connell's had a lot of good things to say about him, but it's just going to be exciting to watch a young quarterback and see if we can mold him into a future starter.
Yeah. Right on the point with it's really at the end of the day, it's a rookie quarterback. I mean, we got him in the 5th round. Some people had him going in the 3rd round even. So no matter what, I don't care where you pick a quarterback in the draft. There's always at least some sort of hope. Like, what if he is the next Tom Brady? Obviously, that's the biggest reach you could possibly say, but still It happens. Or what if he is the Purdy? Or like anything like that. So there's just that little bit of hope. You never know for sure, and you don't really get to tell until you see some sort of game action. Right. And preseason will be a good one when he is against lower competition. Because so far, I mean, the first day of training camp, it sounds like he was lights out. He got initial hype. Ever since then, it's calmed down a little bit. I've heard a couple things about him, but no one's been really talking about him that much. But the one thing about him that I really like, and why I'm really excited is, man, he looks like he can do almost anything you want in a quarterback. And he doesn't have the biggest arm in the world, but it looks big enough. And the thing with him, I'm really excited to see, especially in preseason, is I think he might not be the fastest running type of quarterback that there's ever been, but he has a great knack for his run, like a great running ability. When you go and watch his tape and his running, he instantly looks like he's like a running back with the ball in his hands. He just looks so natural as a runner, like he has just this running ability skill, whatever you want to call it. So that's what I'm excited. I'm actually excited to see how mobile he actually is and how that looks on the field for us. And who knows, hopefully there's just a spark of optimism after this game and you're like, hey, no, like could he be this guy? Who knows, but at least there is some sort of hope and excitement, because we go through a lot of off seasons where we don't really go after any rookie quarterbacks like this. So it just brings another excitement, something else to watch. And that circles me back to this is why I think this is one of the most exciting preseasons in recent memories. A lot of the reason is because you have a rookie quarterback that you can actually watch.
Absolutely. Moving on to the number 2 guy on this list, undrafted free agent.
Ooh, let's go.
Out of Cincinnati, Ivan Pace Jr. A lot of people had him as potentially a day 3 draft pick. Fell into undrafted free agency. Vikings scooped him up. I know we were texting as soon as that happened, him along with Andre Carter out of Army. Super exciting. 2 of the top guys in undrafted free agency. And you get a shot at him without having to spend a draft pick. I know Andre Carter just got back from injury, so we'll see if he plays at all. But Ivan Pace Jr., he's been showing out all training camp long. I know Rap Purple Pocket Podcast loves him. I think he's right on the money when you say the guy is a dog, and that is, it's a great way to describe him. I mean, Brian Flores said the same thing. He comes into practice, he shows out, he's been working hard. He's been mixing in with the ones, making plays. The biggest knock on him is the size. And if you look at him and Brian Asamoah, in the coming years, we might have 2 undersized middle linebackers. But I mean, if they're the best 2 players at the position on your team, you got to put them out there. His competition is going to be Jordan Hicks, and Jordan Hicks is a consistent veteran, but he's older. He's not the most athletic guy in the world. So Ivan Pace Jr. has a legitimate shot to play some meaningful reps this year. And I say, watch out. You're always questioning undrafted, free agent. He's got a lot of hype. How's he going to do? And if what we've heard so far is any indication, we might have a real player on our hands here.
Yeah, for any undrafted free agent, this is obviously Ivan Pace is a special one. Same with Andre Carter, where they probably should have been drafted but didn't. But even with that being said, like, he is no question exceeding all expectations at this point. The fact that it's nothing but positivity. The hype for Ivan Pace Jr. has become so real. It's insane. And like you said, he's playing with the firsts. I think Asamoah, it sounds like he's kind of switching in and out with Asamoah. I know Asamoah might have had yesterday, he had like a slight injury or something. He came off the field after warm-ups or something like that. So Ivan Pace took over, even though the depth chart had Ivan Pace as like the 5th linebacker or something like that. But it seems pretty obvious that he's going to get a good chance at, I don't know if he's going to be a starter, but a good chance at being like the first backup or the next guy on the field. His pass rushing ability has absolutely shown so far. His speed, cutting up, going through the gaps of the line and getting to the quarterback has been as good as advertised, as good as people thought, as good as he was in college. Because at the end of the day, you're talking a guy that probably has such a massive chip on his shoulder, dude. He probably thought he should go in like the 2nd round. Maybe he even thought he was a 1st rounder. And he ends up going undrafted. And he has accolades. He has everything. The one thing about him is he's short, and that's like the reason why he was undrafted. And he's showing up so far. So I'm super excited to see Ivan Pace Jr. And I think we're going to have a chance to see a lot of them tomorrow. And at the very least, like, that's one cool thing about these kind of athletic players. It's you'll just be able to see the speed he has. And just like we saw with Asamoah last year. So yeah, Ivan Pace Jr., I'm excited. And circling back to Andre Carter real quick too, is was kind of injured prior to like this past week, which he's been in, and he's showing a lot too. So I don't know how much time he'll be playing after coming back from an injury, but hopefully we see some of him as well and see some athleticism and find out that we got some studs as undrafted free agents. So
absolutely. And moving on to number 1, of course, is the Minnesota Vikings number 1 pick. in the 2023 NFL draft. That is wide receiver Jordan Addison. So obviously rocky start for Addison with the traffic stop before camp started, but since then been a consummate pro. I mean, off the field, whatever. We'll talk about him on the field. He's been showing out.
Yes.
I mean, first day of camp or second day of camp, he had a nice dime from Kirk, caught it in between two other receivers or two other defenders, and all you're hearing about the guy is the route running that everybody knew he had. It's legit. It's translating well, especially to training camp against.
If not even better than expected, which is scary.
Absolutely. And against the Brian Flores defense, which the pieces may not be great right now, but Brian Flores is a great defensive coordinator. He's doing that against them. He had a 40, I believe he got a 40-yard bomb touchdown. The guy knows how to get open. Is he a little smaller frame? Sure, but he'll use that to his advantage. And everything that we wanted out of Jordan Addison, at least from camp, we're seeing. Kevin O'Connell said he does have a plan for him in the preseason. He did say how much he will play does remain to be seen, but I think we'll get to see him for a few snaps tomorrow, maybe a drive or two, ramp up a little bit as we go to regular season. And Kevin O'Connell not straight up saying he's going to have a full rep in preseason makes me think he has expectations for this guy to start the season as a top 3 receiver on the team and get a lot of reps. He doesn't want to put him out there to get injured, but we got to see a little bit of him tomorrow night. I hope we do, but I think they're gearing him up to have a pretty big role in this offense alongside Justin Jefferson, the rest of that passing game.
Yeah, he's such a stud, dude. And I mean, this is a guy, I had him as my number 1 wide receiver going to the draft. I picked him as Vikings pick at 23. I've always really liked this guy, and he's even done. You hope a guy like this can go into training camp and you hear the buzz, but his buzz has been insane. I think you could argue he's been at least not the most impressive player in training camp, but the most impressive based on expectation. And I mean, I don't know if they still do the Mr. Mankato or how that works, but there's a real chance that he could win that. I feel like, even though he as a rookie, which you don't always see that. I feel like, but Jordan Addison's route running is crazy good. And you said, I mean, starting from that first training camp, there's that right in the middle catch. And he's just been having highlight after highlight, almost every practice. Everybody that's going there has nothing but positives, things to say about him and his route running, and then his toe tapping, toe dragging ability, which is one of those skills where I think, like, I don't really think you teach that so much. Like, I feel like that's an ability that some people have just better than others. Maybe you can teach it a little bit, but I think not everybody has it. Not like him. Like, his focus on keeping his feet in bounds while looking at the ball is already fantastic. And you're talking about the one thing about him, and we said it with Ivan Pace being too small. So far with these last couple of days, there's just been articles about him talking about, like, people thinking he's too small, and he's not afraid. He said these small people are the what did he say exactly? What was the exact quote? Like, small people are the fiercest, something like that. Fearless, the most fearless, or something like that. But it shows, like, he's not afraid. His small size is not going to make him afraid of these other players out there, and he's not afraid to catch balls in traffic, and he's not going to be afraid of all that stuff. And yeah, the other thing that you have to worry about him, I guess, is the blocking in the first 5 yards on a route. But it sounds like, man, his route running is so good that, I mean, they're not even getting their hands on him in the first 5 yards of the route. So as far as getting bullied early, that might not be as big of a deal as people think as well. I mean, his route running is just already that good. So I'm pumped about Addison, obviously, but Jordan Addison, I can't wait to see him. And that's what I'm saying, man. A wide receiver like Jordan Addison, Jaren Hall, Ivan Pace, an undrafted free agent that should have gotten picked way earlier, looking that good. It's going to be a great preseason, man. It's going to be great. And yeah, I'm pumped.
Yeah. So those are our top 5 players we're looking forward to watching in preseason game 1. Let us know your top 5 players you're looking forward to see. Not even this game, just all throughout the preseason. Let us know that down in the comment section, and we'll see you guys next time on the GG Sports Podcast.
Skol Vikes.